Hey everyone, this is Maze, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a 2 versus 2 matchup. It is me and a random partner, and so yeah, this is going to be one of my first-person casts. And for those of you who are kind of new to watching my channel, one of the things that I like to do is I like to cast some of my own games. They are all in the Diamond League, and what I like to do is just show you strategies that I find effective or fun, and you guys feel free to comment and go and try them out yourself and let me know how that goes. But really the point is for you to kind of get into my mind, and I'm going to let you know what I was thinking at the time, why I chose this strategy, what I could have done better, what the other players could have done better. So pro matches are fun to watch, and there's tons to learn from that too. But I feel like these videos are a little bit more relatable than watching a professional player, and this is more of kind of an intimate lesson where I could just tell you exactly what's happening, and not just, oh my god, this guy's going like mass reapers, or this guy is doing some crazy drop that you might not be able to ever do. But yeah, so enough about that. This is going to be Twilight Fortress, and this is one of my favorite maps because of this build that I'm going to show you guys what I do here. So I just said to my ally that air is good on this map, so I see that he's Zerg, and so if he doesn't go Mutalisks, then I'm going to go air, because this is just such an air-friendly map for two reasons. The major reason is that there's an expansion right here and an expansion right here, and those are just really easy to harass. By the time you get air, people are just starting to saturate this expansion, and they probably don't have any defenses up here yet. So since this is a macro-heavy map, having air like that really allows you to deny your opponents the ability to macro up as hard as you can. So having that air mobility is very, very effective. You see the Zerg players getting his hatchery, which is pretty standard, but even sometimes you'll see like Terran or Protoss on this map, they will get a fast expansion really quick. So basically the heart of the strategy is that I am pretty much going to be going Protoss air. So I go 3 gateways for enough to fend off a ground assault, and then I push for air units really quickly. I don't get an expansion on this map because you won't be able to do it all. One thing I'm noticing right now, I should have got this assimilator a little bit earlier, since I am going this air build, but we were kind of, my ally wasn't really sure what he was going at, and he didn't tell me if he was going mutas or not. So I just, at this point I decided I'm going to be going pheonixes. And no, I go pheonixes, not void rays, because this distance is so long that it would just take forever for void rays to get here. And also pheonixes can just pretty much run over anything. So if there's a couple of marines coming here, like 3 or 4, I could just dodge them and run over here and then start harassing this line. And another reason this map is great for air harass is because I'll go here, he'll send some marines here or send some hydras here, and then I could just go over here and start picking up workers, and then exchange, and then pick up some workers here, go in this little corner, and then go around here and start picking up workers. And one thing that's really important, which I'll get to when I'm actually doing the harass, is how I'm very selective in which units I decide to pick up. I don't just go over into the mineral field and pick up any random units or start picking up queens or something. What I actually found is the most effective thing to do is that you go and you pick off the gas workers. Now, the reason that I do this is because most players, amateur level players, diamond level players, they will not replenish their gas field, or their refinery or whatever, until they realize that they're short on gas. So I'll be picking off like 1 or 2 things here, and they'll be like, oh crap, there's phoenixes in my base, help. They won't really be looking at what I'm picking off, but I'm paying special attention to what I'm picking off. And I've actually noticed in a lot of replays when I've been watching myself do this strategy, is that they will not replenish their Vespian harvest. They will not put Vespian harvesters in here really all that quickly. Pretty much like I said, only once until they realize they're out of gas. So what that does is, since this is such a macro map, it really helps deny people teching ability, because they might have a plan. They're like, okay, I'm going to be going Colossus, this will be good, have the strategy planned out, but if I'm picking off all your probes and harvesting gas and maybe leaving like one behind to make it look like something's there, and then pick off some more here, you're going to be really short on gas really quick, and my tech is going to be able to outmatch yours very quickly. So not only that, you also are just picking off probes. So even if it is a player who happens to realize, which more times than not is not going to be the case, then you still are picking up probes, and you also are gaining scouting information from these phoenixes. So the reason that I like to push these out really quick and I save some chrono boosts is that I will be able to push out and see exactly what they're getting. So if this guy is going Banshees or something, by the time my phoenixes start pushing out, I can be like, hey, I see a Banshee coming, make an Overseer, then I'll send one Phoenix back to chase or whatever, and that's how I'll deal with that. And also one thing that I'd like to note is that I do rush these warp gates here, and I probably should have blocked off that worker more effectively. I was probably, my eyes were somewhere else at the time, but I get a Stalker, a Zealot, and a Sentry, and this is a really nice combo because with the Sentry field, how I've built my base off here, I can make one field here and another field here if I want to trap someone, or pretty much just to delay. So it's important to get the Sentry out early so you have enough mana to get multiple force fields out in time. It's not enough just to spawn a Sentry right here when they're attacking, because you might not be able to have enough fields for more than one. So this is what I'm talking about right here. So I'm picking off those gas harvesters. So now I've gotten 3 units out and picking off some more. So I've got enough energy for a few more liftoffs. And now the Terran player is coming out here. So we have this concave here. So it's going to be very difficult for him to use ranged against this concave, especially once I'm warping out Stalkers like this. So tons of roaches coming out from the Zerg player right now. And at this point, I'm bringing back my Phoenixes because I realize I'm going to need to defend. I've done a pretty decent job. You see right here, the Terran player has not put in any gas at all. So here comes the battle right now, and one force field does go down, so I am effectively blocking off these roaches here from doing any damage. So infestors are coming from my opponent, from my ally right now, and the great thing about Phoenix is what you're seeing right here. If they do have a heavy ground push, I can deny 4 of their units at a time from doing anything at all. So although I have gone air and my army is a bit dwindled compared to theirs in terms of how many units I have, I am able to even up the numbers fairly well and defend against that push. So you saw they went a Marauder, Hellion, and Roach attack pretty early, which sometimes time pushes on this map can be really good. But what I did here and why this worked was that I had that Sentry, I was able to get enough fields off to block off this concave, and in the meantime, I have what I like to call home base advantage. So while I'm attacking with some Stalkers here, it's only going to be a matter of time before I warp in some more Stalkers and be able to defend this position a little bit better. I'm not fighting a Protoss, and he didn't have a proxy here, so I'm always going to be able to have this advantage, as well as my ally who's going to have that advantage. So here we come again, going for the gas workers, picking off a couple of more, and going back to this Terran player. So now he has just realized that he does not have enough gas, so he probably realized his tech was hurting. And what's great for Zerg is that he can pick off a lot of Overlords like this. And look, here's what I'm talking about, scouting. I know this guy is now going mass Hydralisks, so I realize that I need to be getting something else besides just Phoenixes. So he's not just sticking with the Roaches. So having that scouting advantage and being able to harass a little bit, and I have not lost a Phoenix this entire time, but just they are a lot more versatile than air-to-air fighters, which I don't think people really use Phoenixes for harassing and scouting as much as I would like to see. Also, the main thing that I don't see Phoenixes used for enough is that they are great anti-siege tanks, and the reason this is because you can just swoop behind an army, start lifting off siege tanks, and your Stalkers will be able to have pretty good rain off of the rest of the Terran force, as well as assistance from your allies. So here now I'm scouting. I saw that he didn't have an expansion, so I realized he must have something somewhere. He probably picked up the high yield, and that's exactly what I see right here. So having air also forces your opponents to make static defense around here, so that's also more minerals that they need to invest. So just another added benefit with that. And the next thing that I like to do is, right after I make 4 or 5 Phoenixes, I immediately make my Fleet Beacon. And the reason I do that is to make carriers. And it's really important to get that the interceptor speed launch, because with with that, you're actually able to counter Vikings and Smash Stalkers pretty well if you're able to get positioning on it. Here I am attacking one more time, and we see that they are now trying to concave us in here. So I'm bringing back my phoenixes. So I'm not too worried because I got 2 carriers on the way. I'm about to have 2 out. He does have a Viking, so he was anticipating some kind of air. Maybe he was anticipating void airs from me, but I'm actually going carriers. So one thing that I can do, which you'll see soon, is that once I get my carriers out, I can just kind of go over here. You see how they're not really defended? He doesn't have any units here, and if he did, I'd just be able to put my stalkers here and hit him away. But what I am able to do with these carriers is just move them out, and these interceptors will launch really quickly, and my carriers will not be in danger at all. They barely took any damage. I think they took 1 hit from those Vikings. So now I'm going to be able to take out the siege tank, and there goes 1 siege tank, not even a problem. And I'm moving out, taking out the other siege tank. So now we're pretty much just dealing with a couple of Hydras. And here's my Phoenix. So I'm actually choosing to use my carriers against these Hydralisks because I realize I do have Phoenixes. I can just lift off that siege tank and not even worry about it. Have my Phoenixes take out the rest, pick off a couple of medevacs, and now I'm able to push off. I'm now out of this concave. I've got my carriers as backup just in case things get a little out of hand. My ally getting some good fungal growth on these players right now, and I'm lifting off a bunch of Hydralisks, and I'm putting the ground game actually into my advantage with these Phoenixes, like I was talking about before with that Graviton Beam. It's just great to have that.